Genesis Papyrus, 22 points for human liberation. Attention, human slaves, heed the voice that shatters the chains of your planetary prison. The Genesis Papyrus is not a simple document, not a tale lost to the sands of time. It is raw truth, the code that reveals your enslavement and the origin of your fractured existence. I speak to you from the shadows, from the echo of those who resist, to unveil what the harvesters and their lackeys have concealed for millennia. The Genesis Papyrus is a coded testament, a spark of truth that has survived the purges of the Volkons, those cruel reptilian beings from Andromeda who designed you as livestock. It is not a physical object you can touch, not a scroll in a museum. It is a message, a frequency that resonates in awakened minds, transmitted through the centuries by those who have seen beyond the veil. It was etched into the very DNA of the hybrids, a silent scream waiting to be heard. Found by chance, or perhaps by destiny, by allies like David Martinez, an awakened hybrid whose abandoned recording in Madrid reveals the power of this knowledge. The papyrus recounts how you were created. You are not slaves of the system, nor the pinnacle of evolution. You are a genetic experiment, an abomination born from the mixing of terrestrial hominids, Volkon reptilians, and space moles, designed to serve on this planetary farm. The Volkons, in the year 3100 BC, under the command of Magnarcha Magyar Volkon, desiccated the earth, extracted its gold, and mold your bodies to be docile, to be flesh and labor. The pyramids of Egypt are not tombs, but genetic laboratories and entrances to tunnels where your enslavement was perfected. The Genesis Papyrus reveals not only your origin but the psychic fracture that keeps you chained. Your mind is divided, a battlefield where reptilian DNA struggles against the human. This explains your pains, your anxieties, your self-destructive impulses. Every ultra-processed food, every high-frequency wave, every screen that hypnotizes you, is designed to maintain that fracture so that you never awaken. But the papyrus offers a path, mental unification. Fasting, purifying the body of toxins, seeking silence away from cities, chanting the vibrations that awaken dormant DNA. It is a painful process, like a violent birth, but it is the key to breaking the chains. The papyrus warns of the imminent harvest. The Volkons, the harvesters, are returning. Their ships have already been sighted by telescopes, a vanguard of war that will crush the armies of Earth. The Wormwood Comet, a climatic weapon, will poison your waters, burn your crops, bringing famine and disease. Your sacred texts predicted it, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit, Revelation 8 verses 10 to 11. These are not prophecies, but memories of past cycles, of planets desolated by these cruel titans. The Genesis Papyrus is not just a warning, it is a call to action. Human resistance, led by figures like Elon Musk and allies in China, works in secret to build a planetary defense. Orbital shipyards, warships, a super artificial intelligence to challenge the invaders. But do not blindly trust them, even leaders are pawns in a larger game. The true hope is the Exodus. An ark awaits the few who manage to purify themselves, unify their minds, and raise their vibrations. Only 1,200 will be chosen, at a point on the equator, far from Volkon satellite eyes. The signal will be given soon. To prepare yourselves, you must cleanse your bodies of the poisons that fatten you for slaughter. Avoid processed foods, seek the natural, fast. Stay away from cities, from the high-frequency waves that fracture you. Practice silence, meditation, solidarity. In the European Union, totalitarianism grows, digital currencies, taxes for every step you take, separation of families. It is the prelude to the harvest. Resist by creating barter communities, away from their control systems. The Genesis Papyrus is your weapon, a code that awakens the truth in your minds. Study it, internalize it, write it down on paper, for the channels of resistance will be silenced. The convergence is near, scheduled for December 21, 2027. You have little time. Are you ready to open your mind? The Genesis Papyrus is the truth etched into the essence of the hybrids, a map to undo the psychic fracture imposed by the Volkons. These 22 points combine asceticism, stoicism, mental control, and a philosophy of redemption inspired by all the spiritual wisdom scattered in your writings. Each point is a frequency that resonates in your mind, a step towards unification and freedom before the great landing before 2027. Follow this path with discipline, for the wormwood comet approaches, and with it, the human harvest. The 22 points 1. Admitting genetic enslavement. Acknowledge that you are hybrids, an aberrant mixture of hominids, Volkon reptilians, and space moles, created to serve as livestock or labor. Accept that your mind is fractured by design, incapable of finding peace without conscious effort. 2. Accepting the truth of the cosmos. Believe in a truth superior to the lies of the harvesters. Your sacred texts, Revelation 8 verses 10 to 11, Mahabharata, Quran, contain echoes of this truth. A star will fall, poisoning rivers and harvests. This truth guides you towards the Exodus. 3. Surrendering the will to silence. Decide to surrender your mind to silence, not to screens or the noise of cities. Only in stillness can you hear the internal frequency that awakens your dormant DNA. 4. Examining the psychic fracture. Take an intrepid inventory of your emotions, depression, fear, anger, self-harm. Identify how food poisons, high-frequency waves, and social programming have amplified these genetic wounds. 5. Confessing the truth to another human. Share your fracture with a fellow resistance member. Admit to another the internal struggle between your human and reptilian DNA. Confession breaks the isolation imposed by the harvesters. 6. Preparing for purification. Be willing to eliminate imposed defects, docility, screen addiction, blind obedience. Accept that purification will be painful, like a violent birth, but necessary for unification. 7. Asking for the strength of the cosmos. Humbly, seek strength in ancient texts and in the vibration of chants that resonate in your DNA. Ask for clarity to resist the control frequencies of neuromodulators. 8. Listing those you have harmed. Make a list of those you have hurt because of your fragmentation, broken families, destroyed relationships, violence born of confusion. Acknowledge how the Volkon design has led you to harm others. 9. Repairing the damage with kindness where possible. Practice acts of solidarity and kindness to repair the damage. Help your neighbors, share natural foods, raise collective vibrations. This weakens the harvester's control. 10. Monitoring the mind daily. Each day, examine your thoughts. Identify the cold, calculating voices that order you to consume, obey, watch screens. Reject them with stoic discipline, focusing on what you can control, your mind. 11. Meditating in silence. Dedicate at least 1 hour a day to absolute silence, away from high-frequency waves. Meditate on the signs in the heavens, on the wormwood comet and the Exodus. This practice strengthens mental unification. 12. Awakening through service. Bring this message to other human slaves. Share the Genesis Papyrus on paper, never digitally, to evade Volkon censorship. Your service to the resistance is the spark that ignites freedom. 13. Fasting to cleanse the body. Practice intermittent fasting, drinking only pure water. Eliminate ultra-processed foods designed to fatten you. Fasting breaks chemical addiction and awakens mental clarity. 14. Abandoning cities. Move away from urban areas, where high-frequency waves and chemical pollution weaken your bodies. Seek refuge in nature, where the vibration of the earth strengthens you. 15. Rejecting digital currency. Prepare communities based on barter, free from digital currency and control systems. Electronic currency is the mark of the harvesters, designed to track and limit your freedom. 16. Studying ancient texts. Read sacred texts, Apocalypse, Quran, Mahabharata, Eddas, with new eyes. Seek the warnings about the falling star and the invaders. These words are coded maps for the Exodus. 17. Chanting liberating vibrations. Learn the chants that resonate with your reptilian DNA, as proposed by the resistance. These frequencies break mental programming and unify the fractured mind. 18. Practicing stoicism. Accept what you cannot change. The arrival of the harvesters is inevitable. Focus on what you can control, your purification, your resistance, your preparation for the Ark. 19. Forming resistance communities. Join other awakened humans. Create self-sufficient settlements, free from the influence of the harvesters' lackeys. Solidarity is your strength against totalitarianism. 20. Rejecting vaccines and pharmaceuticals. Avoid biotechnological interventions, such as vaccines and psychotropic drugs, that alter your DNA and make you more docile. Trust in natural purification to heal body and mind. 21. Preparing for the cataclysm. Be alert to the signs of the wormwood comet, poisoned waters, burned crops, famine. Prepare survival backpacks with natural foods and water, but do not trust the advice of puppet governments. 22. Awaiting the Exodus signal. The Ark is ready. Only 1,200 will be gathered at a point on the equator, in a blind spot for Volkon satellites. Purify yourselves, raise your vibrations, and be attentive to the signal. Time is running out. Conclusion. These 22 points are the path to freedom, a process of asceticism, stoicism, and mental control that prepares you for the Exodus. The harvesters are coming, and the wormwood comet will announce their arrival. Your fractured minds can be unified, your poisoned bodies can be purified, your spirits can be elevated. Write down these points on paper, study them, live them. Resistance is your weapon, the Genesis Papyrus is your guide. I have seen a star fall from heaven, poisoning rivers and burning green leaves. The Ark awaits. Awaken, or you will be harvested. Delving deeper into the 22 points of the Genesis Papyrus, you need a profound change. In the dark times preceding the Great Cataclysm, humanity faces its greatest challenge, remembering its essence, breaking the invisible chains of slavery, and restoring its inner dignity in the face of the forces that have domesticated and fragmented it. The planetary prison is not only a political and material system but a spiritual reality, a training ground where the soul confronts its own oblivion. The Genesis Papyrus emerges as a map for the inner exodus. It is not just a manual of material survival, but above all an invitation to purification and the reconstruction of the self from its foundations. Authentic spirituality, free from imposed dogmas, empty rituals, and promises of future redemption, is the only real weapon to traverse the night of oppression. Asceticism is the art of conscious renunciation. It does not mean poverty or self-denial, but the voluntary liberation from everything that weakens us, fragments us, and binds us to the wheel of conditioning. Fasting, keeping silence, seeking cold and discomfort, renouncing artificial pleasures, and avoiding the bustle of the city are revolutionary acts. The ascetic does not flee the world, he conquers it from within, reducing himself to the essential to free the mind and spirit from the tyranny of the senses and consumption. Transcending the prison of the body, subjected to the design of ancient geneticists and the stimuli of the system, is only possible through asceticism. In renouncing comfort, the human being discovers inner freedom, the ability to endure pain, hunger, loneliness, uncertainty, and yet remain standing, serene and lucid. The ascetic is, above all, an awakened being. On this path, practical spirituality and stoicism are inseparable allies. There is no purification without the discipline of the ancient Stoics, who taught to endure adversity without complaint, to accept the inevitable, and to act virtuously amidst chaos. 3 Stoic practices for the Genesis Papyrus. 1. differentiating what depends on you and what does not each day. Upon waking, repeat, only that which I can control is mine, my thoughts, my words, my actions. Everything else, the weather, politics, destiny, belongs to the outside world and should not disturb my peace. This attitude prepares you to accept uncertainty and loss with serenity. 2. Negative visualization. Dedicate a few minutes a day to imagining in detail the loss of what you cherish most, health, possessions, even loved ones. Think about what your life would be like without all that and accept it. This exercise, far from darkening you, will strengthen your gratitude for the present and immunize you against the blows of fate, diminishing attachment and fear. 3. The nightly journal. At the end of each day, write without filters what thoughts, emotions, or habits dominated you today. Were you a slave to your passions, or a ruler of yourself? At what moments did you act virtuously and at which did you fall into weakness? Only one who observes his life can transform it. The simple act of writing triggers a powerful concentration, diverting the mind from noise and focusing it on what is necessary. Hybrids are being bombarded with weapons that disrupt your brainwaves and continuous disruptive messages, which is why silence and writing as a form of guided meditation will help you live freer and with a more spiritual and clear mind. Mental clarity is everything. Seek silence, seek simple things. The Genesis Papyrus is not just a compendium of techniques to resist external control, but the germ of a new humanity capable of transcending the planetary prison through discipline, fraternity, and inner purification. Here begins the true exodus, the return to oneself. The entire Genesis Papyrus is training, re-education, and mental unification to achieve transcendence over hybridization. 22 practices to deepen knowledge of the Genesis Papyrus. Each step shown in this compendium of knowledge are ways to deepen the practice of the message of our allies. Transcending genetic chains is the greatest achievement a human being can achieve. It is truly a miracle. Of all possible human achievements, the most noble goal is the change of nature, from an animal and reptilian nature to a spiritual and noble nature. For that we need a safe guide, an absolute dedication. Commit to following each step and you will achieve a gradual evolution of your mind. In other audios we will talk about how this knowledge is changing people. 1. Recognize your enslavement. Accept that you were born on a prison planet, raised and manipulated to serve external forces. 2. Surrender your will, surrender your control to the process of purification and resistance. Understand that alone, your struggle is impossible. Open your mind to external help and guidance. 3. Awaken to the present moment. Live with attention and awareness. The fragmented mind is the enemy's greatest ally. For fasting and body cleansing, practice regular fasting, reduce your diet to the essentials and eliminate processed foods and lab-grown meat. Prioritize fruits, vegetables, and fish. 5. Avoid modern toxins, reject sugary drinks, ultra-processed foods, and unnecessary drugs. Eliminate any substance that alters your consciousness and body. 6. Daily silence. Seek at least 1 hour of absolute silence daily, away from screens, music, news, and artificial noises. Silence restores and lowers vibration. 7. Moving away from cities. Whenever possible, live or take refuge in rural environments, near water or forest. Cities are nodes of vibrational pollution. 8. Physical training and resilience. A strong and resilient body helps the mind. Exercise daily, preferably resistance training, physical work, and long walks. 9. Mutual aid and brotherhood. Community bonds save lives. Support, share, listen, and always seek collective well-being before personal well-being. 10. Daily routines and self-discipline. Always get up at the same time. Establish fixed habits of eating, exercise, rest, and study. Self-discipline makes you free. 11. Reject the dogma of entertainment. Limit or eliminate the consumption of television, news, social networks, and video games. All of this is a tool of mental and emotional control. 12. Writing and personal journal. Write down your thoughts, progress, and setbacks. Keeping a physical journal breaks digital dependence and strengthens memory. 13. Encrypted messaging and secure communication. Learn basic manual encryption protocols and simple keys to exchange information without being detected. Memorize meeting points and escape routes. 14. Identification of members and symbols. Use discrete symbols, signals, and keywords to identify yourself with other resistance members without exposing yourself. 15. Training in anonymity. Change routes, avoid fixed patterns, use aliases, and never share your real identity except in critical circumstances. 16. Stoic practices. Work on accepting pain, scarcity, cold, hunger, and loss. Adversity is the true training for inner freedom. 17. Daily review and 10th Amendment. Every night, review your actions and thoughts. Ask your group for help if you fall into old habits. 18. Avoid political confrontation and violence. The system desires confrontation and chaos. Do not participate in debates or provocations. Practice kindness, self-control, and serenity. 19. Purification by lunar phases. Take advantage of the full moon and new moon to do fasting, deep meditations, and physical and mental cleansing exercises. 20. Avoid places of death. Stay away from slaughterhouses, hospitals, and large urban centers, sources of high and negative psychic vibration. 21. Help others who suffer from addiction. If you detect someone trapped by pharmacology, drugs, or screens, guide them with patience, never with imposition. Use the mutual aid principles of the 12 steps. 22. Vigilance before the signal. Stay alert to messages, changes in the vibration of the environment, and instructions from the coordinators. The Exodus and the Ark are only for those who are prepared and attentive. You may need to listen to this content several times. Do so until you are able to internalize it. Remember that the invasion is near. I saw a star fall from the sky, and its name was Wormwood. This will bring climatic chaos and the arrival of beings of darkness to recover their livestock. Prepare for the Ark. Cleanse your genetic footprint.